this new microcosm by Hologram Electronics. It's like awesome for synthesizers and keyboards. It does like lots of cool, trippy stuff. Hey man, who are you kidding? It's for guitar, man. It's a guitar pedal. It goes on the floor. You step on it. It's a guitar pedal. It's awesome for guitar. I'm here to talk about the Microcosm by Hologram Electronics. Why would you want to buy one? There seems to be quite a bit of confusion around really what it's good for and what it does. So I want to delve into that a little bit. It's such an amazing pedal, and I think it's a little bit misunderstood. It does so many things so well. You've probably seen a lot of videos on YouTube where people are using this to mangle the sound and twist it and fuck it up and do all sorts of glitchy stuff, weird little bursts of the input signal coming back, but it's so much more than that. First of all, it has a great deal of digital delay settings. These are interesting, complex, quite controllable, but I very rarely see people using it just as a digital delay. The other thing it is a digital reverb that has an amazing, massive sound. There are 4 different reverb types. You look at this and you think, it's like $450, but it's like, wow, look how much money you spend for a good delay or a good reverb, and most of those things don't do anything else. So what about buying it as a delay and a reverb unit that is programmable, stereo ins and stereo outs, that also does some other cool stuff if you want. It's more experimental, it's more random. Lots of times you can buy a delay pedal, but it doesn't have MIDI. So this way you can sync it up to all your other devices or your BPMs of whatever your master clock is. That's pretty cool. The reason keyboard players love this thing is because you've got stereo inputs. If you've got a big synth sound that has a lot going on in the stereo field, or maybe a stereo arpeggiator or a sequencer, the microcosm will maintain that stereo signal path and just add to it. A lot of guitar pedals, up until just a few years ago, just had a mono in and maybe 2 outs. This one is true stereo. It also has an input for an expression pedal, so that in real time, you could hook up a pedal to this thing and be controlling parameters while you're playing. So that's pretty cool. There are settings that do glitchy stuff, that take your audio coming in and manipulate it. They reorganize it and play it back to you, so you get these little weird bursts that interrupt things or add things in the background. And that's what makes it great for experimental stuff, improvisational stuff, glitch stuff. And don't forget, it's a looper. The looper is true stereo and it has infinite overdubs. Another cool feature, when you record little bits into this, it'll play back program at 1/4 speed all the way up to 4 times speed. It'll take your loop or segments that you record and pitch them just to add texture. It has tap tempo to sync stuff up. So it's textural, it's exotic, but it's also an awesome delay and reverb. I've got a New Neighbor Immerse stereo reverb. Awesome. But it's like $300, and that's all it does. No MIDI, no user presets. There's the Eventide time factor. It's great, but it only does delay, and there's no MIDI, and it's $500. There's the Eventide Space, which has all sorts of great reverb and echo effects. Once again, no MIDI, $500. The Strymon Big Sky, amazing reverb sounds. Once again, $500 US, and that's all it does. No delay, no fucking with your signals to make cool improvisational or experimental stuff. It's just reverb. Very easy to come up with your sounds, modify them, see what you have. And since I got this thing, the more that I use it, the more interesting things I find out that it does. So yeah, you can use it on guitar. A lot of people use it on keyboards, but I've used it for vocals. I want to play you some of these reverb and delay sounds that you don't normally get to hear on YouTube. So first of all, let's listen to some reverb patches. That's a nice short reverb. And then reverb number 3, a little bit longer. And finally, the big long ambient cavern. So now let's listen to that on a patch. I want to start with this patch because it has a lot of activity in a stereo field. And now we'll dial in some of the microcosm. Alright, so now I want to listen to just a basic echo. Now I'm setting it 100% wet, so all we're hearing is the echo return from the microcosm. This changes the different envelopes of the echo. This low-pass filter rolls off the top end. This is how long it repeats, otherwise known as the feedback. And up here is the activity knob, which is the complexity of the pattern. But you'll get the idea that because it's synced by MIDI, the delays are perfectly in sync with whatever you're running this with. So now I'm going to feed back some of the original dry signal, and I'll add in a little bit of reverb on top of that echo. So as you can hear, it's very beautiful, very musical, very useful. When the pedal is in bypass mode, any changes that I make selecting different presets and stuff are indicated by the lights, so before you turn the pedal on, you know what kind of sound you've got happening. So now I'm going to call up some of these patches that are a little more extreme in the way they manipulate and modulate the sound. Here's another effect that's kind of crazy. So I'm sure you get the idea. You can get way out there with this thing. Now let's listen to a little bit of timed echo. This thing is a really interesting way of creating unusual effects all in one box, portable, programmable, MIDI controllable. I say buy one. I hope I've been able to show you some other sides of the Microcosm by Hologram Electronics.
Don't know why they didn't make it black like everything else I own.